We have life.
Got it.
We got it. We got it. It's the other port,
Our home.
I guess. So, welcome back to Waterproof Whitetails. Back down at the bar with Nate, hanging out. And figured because we're less than a month away from deer season, this was a good time to get on and start really fleshing out some questions we've been hearing from folks going into next season. Some of the stuff we got going on with life and all the other stuff. Going with that with hunting, and not just the hunting side of it, but getting everything else figured out before the hunting season really starts.
How to balance life and deer hunting.
Yep. So this will be your second year with a kid. Owen just had his first birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yep, end of August. One whole 1 year old.
Yep. Crazy.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He's just about walking.
Walking, I was just hearing he was getting his vocabulary down for season. You know?
Yeah, he's saying he loves deer mounts. Got him saying deer. Goes around the house, points at all the deer mounts. Deer, deer. Had a mishap. The father-in-law, I told him how Owen likes the deer mounts, and he points at them, and he likes to get up there and pet them, touch them. Well, father-in-law had him lifting him up to hold on to one of them, and he grabs a hold of the antlers and he yanks on it, and the drywall anchor, ripped out of the wall. The deer mount fell on my mother-in-law. Luckily, the deer mount was okay.
Mother-in-law good too?
Yeah, mother-in-law's
good. Absolutely. Had to have that quick follow-up question with that.
But yeah, he's all about it. He's it's cool, man. Now that he's starting to be able to communicate with him a little more now.
And he's mobile, man.
Oh yeah, he's 100 miles an hour, and
I remember.
Fours.
What was it? A week and a half ago now? You had his first birthday party.
Yeah.
So
I think the week before that we did the fantasy draft, and you and Jake were on the deck messing with him.
Yep. Feeding him a whole mess of blackberries.
He loves his blackberry blue fruit.
Yeah.
He eats everything. He just don't stop eating.
Yep. Well, he said he's up in the 95th percentile for weight, which is solid. He says he's short, though.
They say he's a little short. He's a little stocky and short.
Yeah. He'll grow into it.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's cool, man. I
don't know. I don't really believe all that percentile crap.
You could go back for the next 3 month, 6 month visit, dude, and he's up in the 90th percentile for his height, just like that. I mean, you snapped up into it. You never know.
The way I always saw it was like kids growing up and stuff. You had the chunkier kids, but those are the kids that hit like a growth spurt. They turned out to be like kind of skinny but really tall.
Yeah.
It's almost like their body took all that extra they had and just used it to grow.
Slingshot right
up.
But yeah, no, we got a couple other things going on. I'm going to Idaho here in less than a week. Flying out.
Yeah.
Go hang out with Derek. He was on when he was in town for my birthday, so we're gonna do a show from out there. I think he's got internet service.
I don't know. He's pretty rural out there.
Yeah, that's true. But so we'll be out there fishing.
I guess you could record one and then post it.
Yeah, we could always do that too. There's a lot of different options. Have Kaylee take my laptop to school, upload it. But no, I'm sure they're starting school out there. His wife's a teacher out there. Mostly gonna do some fishing. I didn't draw an elk tag for his zone. I could get one for further down the state, but it's like 9 hours away. So we decided to pass on that opportunity. So he said if we were going to look into that, we'd go about 10, 12 hours. There's a really good zone down there in like central southern Idaho. That's really good, high percentage. Or up by him is pretty good too, from what we were talking about. So yeah, we'll see. And then I got his bow out there. If we glass the right animal or something, I'll buy an over the counter and we'll see what we can do. But just looking to hang out and see the sights and get a feel for elk hunting. You know, going with there, he's going to be behind the bow, obviously, but should just be a good time. I've never been west of the Mississippi, so
cool experience.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
See a new state, do something you love, even if it is just tagging along.
Yep, and this is my first time ever flying by myself too, so we'll see how that goes.
So you've actually flown?
I've flown before, but not by myself, like with a group of people, my family and stuff. So this will be the first time I'm going ever on my own on a plane.
I've never flown anything.
Really?
Yeah. A dirt bike once.
Well, that's a little different. It doesn't have wings. You might have thought it had wings.
Didn't land very well.
But no, I've only flown once. We went down to Florida. Other than that, it's just been driving, dude. Like, I've driven to Kentucky, Indiana, Carolinas, Florida, Georgia.
Say, you got that brand new pickup now. You figured you'd be putting some miles on that.
Yeah. No. I'm not going to take it cross country. Not yet. Well, maybe next year we'll take an out-of-state hunt. We'll take
her. Wow. Yeah. You never know what next year's going to bring.
You never know. So
it's kind of crazy how much what you think about you. You look back. It just turned into September, so you look back past 8 months. Trying to think of everything you did in 8 months. It is so much.
It's a ton, dude, and it goes by in the blink of an eye. Even faster now that you have a kid and stuff like that. I'm sure you turn around and, like I said, next time I see Owen, he's going to be up probably walking or running around. You know.
Yeah, he's
super mobile, dude. You gotta I was watching him at his birthday party.
He was real close to walking.
Yeah.
He can stand there.
Oh,
he has taken a couple steps.
Yeah.
I don't consider it walking, but he has taken a couple steps on his own.
For momentum, falling over.
No.
Yeah.
He takes a couple steps, then he just sits down because he can get there faster crawling. He knows that. He can walk. Well, there's no doubt in my mind the kid can walk.
Yeah.
He just knows in his mind that he can get there faster crawling, so he just converts to that.
Gotcha. But yeah, no, it's good. And then you helped me out a lot this year, like always, getting my stands all trimmed up and
likewise,
checked out for the year, getting them all ready. Just got a couple acres of food plots to knock in tomorrow morning, and then I should be completely set.
It's such
where I want to be.
It's such kind of a blessing, I guess you could say, to have a friend or a family member or whatever, someone that you can count on to go out there and you guys can actually work as a team and get along and actually, do these small projects like trimming stands, checking straps, just whatever, just to get that little stuff done and out of the way. Or even just hanging trail cameras if you got an abundance of them and it's kind of a chore to do. Like you run 20-something cameras.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I mean, just ahead, it is a blessing to have someone like that. They, will take time out of their busy schedule because everyone's got stuff going on. And just kind of help you out. And appreciate that.
But no, we got all the properties done up. I didn't put up any new sets this year. I mean, we adjusted some straps and stuff like that on a few of them, trimmed them up, and some stuff's changed around them, so I guess they're kind of new setups, but not really. Most of my stuff, we only hung like one or two. One for you.
Two.
Wow.
One we moved.
Yeah,
we talked about that last time we were on. We moved, we thought we were on the point of the saddle, but we were actually not. The past couple of years, and kind of figured all that out, and ended up moving it a little deeper into the woods. And then last week, we hung a stand over at my lease.
Yeah. Harambe.
Yeah, I don't know how that name's going to go over publicly, but either way, especially if you kill them.
Well, I guess to bring the story full circle, so we're not being insensitive or anything like that.
It's nothing towards that actual gorilla.
It was the stand. There was a previous stand in that tree. It just happened to work out that way. I don't think they ever killed anything out of it.
I don't know.
They probably walked right down the field to get into it.
they were pretty good hunters. The guys that
Yeah.
hunted that piece before me.
Gotcha. But so anyway, so we got the stand set up, and there was an old hang-on up in it, and it was a gorilla hang-on, and we were trying to figure out what brand it was, and then finally we throw it out of the tree, and I get down there and look at it.
You made kind of a sick joke with it.
I made a little bit of a sick joke with it, and
you kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Well, and then we pulled cards after we did it.
Mm-hmm. There's a good buck over there.
There was a good buck over there. You're like, oh, you should name him
Harambe.
Harambe. So it kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So that's Harambe.
And that's what I like with the deer names is whether we do like the Phelps bar bucks from last year at my place, you got to figure out what the new batch is going to be this year. But some of those bar bucks are still hanging on. Smokey got killed as a 3-year-old. But Crafty, Clipper, those guys are all still over there. The last of the Three Stooges, Curly's over there still. And he's he's the old guy.
Kind of your main target.
Yeah, he's the old guy over there now. But dude, Crafty looks really good.
He's got some stuff going on. He's pretty nice.
He's unique. He's definitely unique, and that's it's tough. And then Dono for the wine bar, named after Don from the wine bar. Dono's still around. He's looking pretty solid. Didn't put on a whole lot, but solid. Curly, same thing. Didn't put on a lot, but real solid. There's good bucks around that I'm hoping to connect with. Kind of got the 1-year rule and Jake's sidebar notes over there that I gotta take into consideration.
Jake, he broke it down there.
Yep.
He did something there.
Yep.
Not bad. Hey, man, if that's how Jake understands it, it's great.
Yeah, and that's, where we talk about the 1-year rule, whether we're talking a specific buck or, some of the other deer that I've killed on that have just been in that wood block during that, that 1 or 2 day window historically. And if you look at some of that historical information, I think there's a lot of value to it. And a couple of the guys I know from off the beaten path, we'll give them a little shout out. Jason's son, I can't think of his name, and I apologize, just shot a stud out in Kansas with the rifle during youth firearm season.
Public?
Stud. I don't know if it was public. I think it was a permission piece, maybe a lease piece, something like that. But they were down in Kansas and killed a buck on a 1-year rule. He's like, 1 year ago, had this buck in here, so we went back out there, and boom, there he was tonight. And you're talking beginning of September. No, I saw the post, and I was like, I read it, and I'm like, 1-year rule strikes are gone. Congratulations, great buck. Stud, dude. Big. It looked like a big mainframe 9-pointer, probably 50 class or so, I'd say. Really, really nice buck. Great buck for the guy.
Check on Facebook here.
Facebook.
We never really get much on YouTube.
Yeah. Facebook. Make sure the audio's. Yep, audio's still coming in fine. So, and I know we didn't put any preemptive things up, but we'll get these rolling back now the next, couple Wednesdays, live videos, getting the stuff coming in.
Give everybody a little more heads up.
Yep.
Like the once season's rolling, try and do this once a week.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do every week, but
yeah,
I can do probably most weeks.
Well, and we've had a couple folks on in the off season, like Mike Vienna. We'll probably have him on at some point talking some stuff.
Yeah, we should definitely hit up Mike's barn again. That was good.
That was a good show. I definitely enjoyed that. And then I had Tim Ken on from Whitetail Properties not too long ago.
That was a really good one.
Yep, Tim was a good time talking to him. And
Mike Price.
Yeah,
actually has some pretty big name guys.
Yeah, we've had some good folks on, dude. And good local folks. That's the other cool thing about it.
Speaking of local folks, our pour of the night before we get carried away.
Oh yeah, shoot. Do you want to do the barrel or do you want to do the 84?
It don't matter, whatever one. Just
So this Sunday at Smokin' Tails, give Pete Cheney and everybody over there at Smokin' Tails a shout out. Master Distiller Pete Cheney.
Master Distiller. According to the overall guy.
Yeah. Is having their Sportsman's Day on Sunday, noon till 3. Pig roast. So bring your money for the pig roast. They're going to be cracking the new 2023 Sportsman's Reserve. This is the 2022 Sportsman's Reserve. This is the barrel proof offering. They also do it in a 80 proof offering. I prefer the barrel one.
And then there's gonna be other things going on. You're gonna have a little booth set up.
Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of different outdoor folks there.
About the podcast and your old tin cup and all of that.
Yep, I'll be there.
I believe he's got a taxidermist, you said, coming.
Local taxidermist, Scott McKenzie from Canandaigua area is going to be there. Got a local FFL is going to be there for firearm transactions and stuff like that. They got a gun raffle they're doing. Pig roast, like I said, the new uncorking of the new Sportsman's Reserve. Let me try to think of a couple of them off the top of my head. Tyler Breen from Cartel Call is going to be there. With some product. I don't know if he's going to show up with the masks or not, but then you got Mike Larson's going to be there. Final Flight Waterfowl, he's going to be set up. He hunts with Matthias Peachson a lot, so he's going to be there too. I can't think of it, but if you want more,
a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a ton of different vendors. Tim Ken will be there from Whitetails Properties. He's going to be there. I don't know if his wife will be there with him or not, but I know Tim's at least coming to that.
Whether it's true or not, I don't know if anyone was tuning into WBEE this morning.
Oh.
At 5:30 in the morning. But it sounds like Terry Clifford, TJ, and the new guy there, Bo.
Yep.
Sounds like they might be making an appearance down there. Someone called in and gave them a heads up, and they were sounding interested in it. So I don't know. Who knows who you might meet down there?
Yeah, they got a bunch of different flavors, bunch of stuff for a bunch of different folks. If you don't like them neat straight up, we do got a couple cubes. You can get it neat on the rocks. They got all different kinds of flavored moonshines. They got vodka. They got
sweet smell.
Oh yeah, it's super sweet. But this year's one, I think he double oaked it, so put it in 2 different barrels.
Very sweet. Not too sweet.
Not that hot either.
No.
Well, on the tongue, not that hot. 117. This year's, I guess, is at 123.
Very dark.
Yeah, that's that. I don't know how he did this one, but I know this year's one is double oaked. So he put it in 2 different oaks, French oak, and then finished it, I think, in regular American oak. So, but yeah, it's good. I mean, you could try it with a cube, open it up a little bit. I'm gonna throw a cube of mine just to give it a little bit of a flavor. On cubey. No, Nate's like, I like it.
No, actually, yeah, that'll be a fun event this weekend.
Yep,
I might be able to pop in early.
Mm-hmm.
I got my
crossing our fingers that my barrel mount will be done by then.
Yeah,
we're crossing fingers. So hopefully
we're waiting on a call any day now. It should be done.
Yeah, they were getting lipped in like a week and a half ago, so they should be finalizing, finishing up any day now.
So I'm excited about getting our deer back.
So yeah, we got the Finanza this weekend, or I got the Finanza. I'll be down there for Friday night, probably not Saturday night because we got Sam's bachelor party.
Yeah, so I mean, any of you archers,
yeah.
You guys are looking for something to do this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's busy, but the Finanza's going on. You should swing down, check it out.
Yep.
It's always a good time.
And of course, the year that I can't shoot the finals because of Pete's event or whatnot, they come out with these brand new. They got like arrowhead trophies this year. They're pretty sweet looking.
I think I saw them.
Yeah. So, but the Finanza is a great time, even if you just come shoot for the day, hang out. They got free camping on site, 40 target practice courses. They have the competition course and qualifying course as well. They do a bunch of different fun things like the running deer, where they put a deer on a guy wire and line up like 50, 60 archers, run the deer down through, and closest to the pin gets a prize or whatnot.
Break some arrows, lose some arrows.
Yeah, they got the big elephant that you shoot at like 150 yards with a little dot on it. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool events. There's a chrono. You can chrono your bow. You can shoot foo-foo arrows and shoot the big foam discs. A lot of stuff going on. Great food.
Of course, the duck hunters, they got the bar open.
The bar's there at Duck Hunters. Yep.
Have a couple beers.
Yep. And then they do food there, and then yeah, it's just a good time. And usually there's somebody, during the weekend, whether it's Chip or Justin Rayner or one of them guys, somebody's breaking out the guitar. Or maybe if I've had a few of these, I've been known to get up there and play a song or two once in a while. Not that good, but usually I get up there at the end of the night when I've had a few too many. Everybody's already also had a few too many, so it all sounds fine. It comes out in the wash.
Makes it sound better. They just don't remember it.
Yeah. So, but no, with the Finanza, it's a good time, and I would definitely highly recommend that to anybody. And that's always the weekend following Labor Day is when that is. So.
Always have something going on Finanza week.
Yeah. Yeah, it ended up being Sam's bachelor party. Before that, I mean, you just had a newborn, so.
Last year, I just had a newborn. Mm-hmm. This year, my brother's getting married. It's his stag party Saturday.
Yep.
One of these years, I'll make it up.
Win that Arrowhead next year. Maybe we can get Jesse to go with us too. I heard he was a champion at one point over there with the fingers.
Well, I mean, not too many people shoot instinctive.
That's true.
And
that's true. Jesse, we gotta get Jesse back on the show here coming up.
Oh, I know. I was talking to him about it last week. He was, just let me know. He was going to do another. He says we got to do another live one from the boat before the year's up. I'm like, I might be able to work that.
Today wouldn't have been a bad day to be out on the boat. To be honest,
swimming.
Yeah, a little bit of swimming, a little bit of fishing mixed in. Yeah, it'd be a good time today. But
after this week, things will slow down a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Until then, we got a couple more weddings to go to, but besides that, at least my weekend should slow down a little bit.
Dude, as for me, I'm getting super busy. I mean, Idaho is busy because I'm not around, pretty much.
Then you got to come home and catch up.
Yep. So I got to come home, catch up, and hurry up, get everything done before I leave. So there's always that too. But I've been plugging away at it, dude. I got my honey-do list done for the week already, and I mean we're only on Wednesday.
You're doing good.
So I'm hoping to get out and plant tomorrow and get the last couple acres of. It's just winter wheat and some NDA soybeans that we got left over that are going to go in for a little bit of green salad mixed in with the wheat, and then some crimson clover over the top of that. But
yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully after this weekend, I can get out. I can pull some cards. Hopefully some of them good bucks I got on the one piece are still fairly frequent. I get a few more pictures of them. And the other piece, I only pulled the cards early. And I haven't been over there. And I threw some of the 100 proof mix out into some soybeans.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of curious to see if that's popping. I'd go check on that and pull the cards and see what's going on.
Yeah. Like I said, I just got cameras out on my other surrounding properties. I've had them out at the farm since usually 4th of July. I put them out. So I've had a few bucks, come on, a couple up and comers, and then a couple like we talked about that, are ones that I'm going to be, targeting specifically this year. Yeah, but a lot of folks, think you got megas, dude, but there's not like jumbo, like booners or nothing like that crazy rocking around. Just solid bucks. Booners, and that's the other thing that I like to tell folks is just there's not like a booner around every corner. Like I think we've only had like one buck that might have been a booner we've ever had a picture of on the farm, and that was that 13 point that Mike's going to have in his showroom at some point, for a display buck or whatever, because he was just gathering dust here. And then I get them out whenever he retires, so that was the plus side of that deal.
Yeah, it's kind of in the same boat. Got some solid bucks, but I don't think you got anything over 160.
I don't got anything over the 40 mark.
Not even close.
Yeah.
I might have one tip of 140.
Mm-hmm. And again, but this is also the time right now where I get a lot of new bucks showing up going into September, especially that second and third week of September. New bucks start showing up. Like my dad said, he had like a 120-inch 9-pointer go in the backyard the other day, and that was a buck that we have no 9-pointers on camera. So obviously, a new guy on the block for something I've been seeing. Yeah. Maybe it's bottom 9, dude. Maybe he's back. again, maybe he'll be gone again, like he does every year.
Yeah, you never know.
I don't know. But yeah, so you got the 100-proof plot out, but that's it. I mean, you're done. You're pretty much set up, just in cruise control.
I'm in cruise control. The only thing I got to do is I'm in the middle of putting a barn up right now. So hopefully get my barn up. Then I can move everything out of the deer shed, put in the barn, all my toys.
Yep.
And then, just getting my hunting pack together, my hunting clothes washed and hung.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to be right after I get back from Idaho. So I'll be out there 10 days.
Get my clothes set.
And that's what. So I'm bringing some with me, but it's going to be warm out there too, so I don't need to bring like base layers really. Maybe wicking stuff, but not like insulated stuff.
Sounds like Derek does a lot of walking, so.
Well, that's what it is. It's a lot of glassing and a lot of, setting up on them and, trying to beat them to a spot and then set up and wait. Try to get to a spot where the thermal's going to be in your benefit. And from what I understand, again, this is like my first time doing any kind of glassing and or kind of stalking or whatever you want to call it. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good time out there. I'm pumped. Like I said, I leave in a week. Literally, I'll be flying out Wednesday morning next week. So
that's exciting.
We'll see how I feel for doing a show that night out there. Well, I actually go back in time. They're 3 hours behind us, so I gained 3 hours going out there, so to speak. So like if it would be like 6 o'clock I was landing here, I'd be like landing at like 3 o'clock out there. So the clock turns backwards as I go west, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. No, other than that, I guess strategy going into the first part of the season. Where are you at going into that first, let's just call it 2 weeks of archery season here in less than a month? What's your game plan? What are you focusing on?
Unless something crazy happens with the weather, or I pull those cards that last week of September, and I got a buck consistently on a food source, like consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Just bring the opening day of bow season back to October 15th for me. I don't care about the first 2 weeks of October.
Right.
I really don't.
Right. I think the earliest I ever killed was the 16th, and that was my first bow shot. The only reason I wasn't out on opening day back then was because I had to drive down to the southern tier border to get my bow course back when I was in college, and then came back out in first sit. I killed that buck, which never happens. It's
too warm. It's too hot.
They're not going far. They're right bedded tight to whatever food source they're on, and
I mean, we get something crazy that happens with the weather, like a drastic change in temperature, a drastic drop, or like I said, I got something on camera consistently, then I go out. Other than that,
or maybe if you got a nice, the thing I've noticed this year, I've done a little bit of scouting as I've been around my pieces, is oaks are very heavy this year. The mast crop kind of as a whole for a lot of the pieces I hunt is pretty heavy this year. So if you got the right time dropping apples, with your historical information, whatever, that can be really hot this time. Like I know we have a little patch of early max, which is a nice transition area, but the apples are usually gone by October 1st because they're dropping right now. That's why they're early max. But the deer pictures in that spot, they're like 1,000 pictures plus a week.
Well, it's a great crop year for anything.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of rain we got. Because you get a day or two of rain, and then all of a sudden you got sunshine.
Yeah.
And you got a day or two of rain, then you got 2 days of sunshine, 3 days of sunshine. I think everything did really well this year. And, when it comes down to the apples, the acorns, the farmers' crops. The other thing about, my main honeymoon spot, one I really focus on my lease. It's just all corn this year. And hunting standing corn is fish. Fish.
Yeah, it can be nice for getting in and out sometimes, but
there's a little honey hole back there, and the access isn't a big deal. I mean, I can access right up the driveway and everything, but I just feel like you don't see as much. And then once that corn's off,
well, it's a lot of cover, dude, and that's not historically annual cover for a lot of the season. So if that's the only cover in heavy ag ground, that's where the deer are going to be a lot of times. Especially with a lot of folks out there right now, which is why we try to wrap the stands up before September, I think, because a lot of guys are in this mad rush right now. We got a couple buddies that are in a mad rush right now trying to get stands trimmed, moved, put out. After like the last week of August, other than maybe putting some
touch it. I want all my stuff done by the end of August.
Yeah, other than maybe doing a little bit of food plot touch up or something like that, but any place you're going back into bedding cover, transitional cover, stuff that's like not on the food source where you can get in, work at midday or whatever and plant it and get off, but like those stands that are back where you want to hunt them in the fall, I don't want to be in there.
You want to hunt them the end of October, early November. Those stands that places you don't want to be.
I don't want my scent to be in there anymore after a month and a half, 2 months. You know what I mean?
And if you do have a camera back there, don't even touch it.
Yep. And I'm
until you go hunt it.
And that's another good topic to lead into this is when you're checking cameras during season.
Just check the food sources. Just check the outskirts stuff.
Yeah.
Don't be diving into your, even though you know it's your honey hole, don't be diving in there until you're hunting it.
If you're not set up with the right conditions to go in there and hunt that spot. Yeah, I mean, the cell cam is big, but you don't run any cells. I don't run a cell either. Never have. I'm not saying I never will. Welcome.
I just need a rough inventory of what's there.
Yeah, once I get a working knowledge that there's a buck in the area that I want to go after, or have the historical, information with them and stuff like that, like targeting them that way, going after specific deer. Once I confirm that he's alive, I go back to my historical data and then hunt the weather. Weather trumps everything. If you can line up the weather with 1 year data, with the right approach and exit, which is critical too, you're going to find success on that. Your sits are going to go down, but your success will go up. And I say that confidently.
The easiest way to put it is just look for those drastic temperature changes.
Or major weather changes, like
people talk about like a weather change when it comes to like a drastic drop in temperature, that cold front. Yeah, that's super ideal. But also that drastic change in temperature when it rises, that's going to change a little bit of what those deer are doing. It might subdue them a little bit, but when you're getting in the later in the season and they're starting to hit, that cut cornfield or that bean field that's still standing, stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you get that climb. Those deer are still in that transition stage from, at least in New York, from that grain, whether it's corn, beans, nuts, or whatever, to that green. So if you get that spike in that temperature for a couple of days, they're going to go right back to that green.
They're going to go back to the winter wheat. They're going to go back to maybe your clover that's not browned out
maybe
yet.
Even an alfalfa field.
Could be an alfalfa
that's still holding green.
Absolutely. That's a really good point.
So, like, whatever you got, those weather changes, those drastic weather changes are what you want to watch, and how the weather changes drastically is how you want to set up and where you want to hunt. I think the more productive ones are the plummet, the cold front ones.
Drop-offs.
But,
I've killed on the front side of fronts too, right before. If you look at that temperature over like the 7-day forecast and go, hey, today's Wednesday, Nate, and Monday, Tuesday next week, they're talking it's going to go up 20 degrees. I'm going to get somewhere in between that front with a good predictable wind condition, stand location, all that stuff, obviously.
Do your base homework.
Get
Always
on
your base homework.
Get on the front of that upswing before it goes up, and then if you can't hunt when it's before, hunt it on the downswing. Like you said, hunt the backside of that front. And you're gonna find a lot more
precipitation. Hunt the precipitation.
Yeah.
Right before a major storm. Like I got buddies, the Fox boys. They're always saying it. And me and Jesse pick on it because it's funny, but they are right. They are right, 100%. You know.
Well,
hunt the storm.
Rain
you gotta hunt
front.
the storm.
Rain means fronts.
You gotta hunt the storm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're right. You know, you gotta hunt the front and back end of the storm. Even if that means going in there a little bit, like an hour before that storm subsides, just because that storm's going to provide you cover accessing.
Oh, yeah.
And then once that storm starts subsiding, they're going to start moving. Mm-hmm. And,
yeah, there's a lot of things to consider, but like we always talk about, you got to have that right stand location for the weather. You got to have multiple options on a piece of property for different wind directions, different conditions, morning stand versus evening stand.
Yeah. Accessing those morning versus evening.
And how you do it, and how you might go into a stand. Because some folks I talk to say, well, that's good for a morning or an evening. Well, it might be, but the way you access that in the morning versus the evening might change drastically because of where the deer are coming from and going to. It could be a very much that spot that's kind of between bedding and between food that you're kind of coming into perpendicular to that movement, let's just say. But you might have to exit back, hook that way toward the bedding and stay away from the food. Whereas in the morning, maybe you hug the bedding, come back into it because they're still out on food coming back to bed in the morning. There's a lot of situations like that where you might have the right stand, but it might be even two different entry and exits, so you don't bumping those deer all around.
And something that I feel like a lot of hunters do is they really concentrate their mind onto, and I was guilty of this for a long time, and once I kind of figured it out and opened my mind up to it a little more, it improved my success rate a ton. Was you're hunting a piece and you're so focused on just that property. Go on Onyx, go on Hunt Stand, go on Google Earth, whatever you like to use. Focus in on that property and then start backing off and see what's around it.
Mm-hmm.
Because your mind is so focused on what you have permission to hunt that you could actually be hurting yourself to what is actually on the outside of that property, and what those deer are doing on the outside of that property, and when they either funnel through or when they're coming to or leaving, and why are they leaving to go that way, or why are they coming from this way to here. I'll go back to my Uncle Josh there or something. He always told me, he goes, Nate, you want to start killing bigger bucks and stuff like that. He goes, you drive by a field. He goes, I don't care if it's a doe, a fawn, a buck. He goes, I don't care what's out in that field. You drive by it. He goes, I don't care what time of day it is. He goes, you look at that deer and you think of, what is that deer doing out there? Mm-hmm. When is that deer doing out there? And what, the time, why is that deer out there? What, when, and why? Think of those three things when you see a deer out in the field, no matter whenever you see it, and try and analyze why that deer's there at that time and for what reason. Why isn't that deer over there in that hayfield? Mm-hmm. Why isn't he over here in the neighbor's hayfield? Why is he over here eating on this hayfield? What's happening over here that's not happening over here? You got to start analyzing all this stuff. Mm-hmm.
And again, we're saying this, you got to analyze it, but at the same time, it's not rocket science. Like you're saying, two hayfields, for example, it might be that farmer wanted to squeak one more cutting of hay out of that field, so he cut it really low. This one's got more growth in it. It's got more palatability. It's got more, let's just say, clover in it, whatever, for that mix, because it's a cow hayfield rather than a horse hayfield. Horse is going to be heavy grass, kind of going to be heavier on the legumes. just as an example. Maybe that's why they're slotting to that hayfield. And so you're like, okay, I have 2 hayfields, but it's not like.
And if you're hunting an area, I feel like every hunter has a general idea of what goes on in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and you should be familiar with what's going on in the neighborhood.
Then you think of when.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's that deer doing now?
Mm-hmm.
You think of when. I'm not just saying like time of day. I'm thinking like time of year.
Yep.
I'm thinking of conditions.
Absolutely.
Why is that deer out there feeding? Well, maybe it's because that deer's out there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon feeding because there's a weather front blowing in at 3:30.
Yeah.
That's why he's out there.
They're out there early that night because we got weather.
I don't understand. This deer I drive by and he's out in this alfalfa field or this bean field eating at 2 in the afternoon in middle of November.
Yep.
Like, wow. You got to start thinking of these things. Why? What? What's he out there? What's he out there for? Why is he out there? When is he out there?
Yep.
Time of year. Time. Yep. What's he after? Why is he after it?
I'm looking at those conditions and reasons and everything like that, and then getting a game plan, or like you said, looking at the local herd as in a general rule, and saying like, okay, I know I have food here and food here, like we were talking about, and there's bedding cover in between, and I can hunt. Let's just say maybe the hayfield that's not as desirable, but I can get kind of on the edge of that wood block. I would be more on the back side of that wood block when they're coming off of that food in the evening, coming off that food in the morning, going back to bed in the morning. That overnight feeding, coming back to that bed, that's when I would shade toward that property in between. Whereas in the evening, you might get a straggler that hooks that bedding, a buck, for example, hooks that bedding before it goes out to the field, and that's where that back side of that might be better in the evening in that scenario. It just depends on what's going on, And we're speaking in very general. There's a block, and obviously it doesn't fall into that all the time, but you can equate it back to a lot of those simple terms, and then, like you said, figure out why they're out there, when they're out there, and then backtrack it to whatever's available for cover. And let's just say you got a cornfield out here in front of that where some deer are bedding, but when that cornfield comes off, whether they didn't cut it for silage or they picked it, for cob production, that's going to pull deer down into that wood block. So that wood block's going to get better when that corn comes off, that cover comes off that's in the neighborhood, and you can expand on that better. Whereas before that, you got 40 acres, and I equate this a lot to when we used to fish for bullhead out of the canal. When the canal was up, it was tricky sometimes to get bullhead out of the canal. But when they dropped it in the spring, when they dropped that canal in the spring, and that canal got like a third of the width that it used to be, and you got to like one of those nice little streams, which is that pinch point or that funnel or whatever.
There you go. That's fishing terminology.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing.
It's the same exact thing. Hunting that hot spot for that right time of the year, right conditions, everything like that, it's going to be so much more productive to you rather than just going in there and trying to, let's just say, out-hunt your neighbor. You can outsmart the deer a lot easier than you can out-hunt your neighbor, I think.
Yes. And we have some buddies that love to sit all day. And
all day, every day, rutcations.
Like, more power to you, man.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I mean, I've actually had more success hunting less. Just hunting on the right conditions. Hunting at the right time. Figuring all that out. I've had more success doing that.
Absolutely. And again, and that's the thing where it comes down to saving your time. And some jobs are, more difficult than others to get time off. And, we get that. But if you can have that job that has that workplace flexibility to give them 24, 48 hours, and you can see this stuff usually a week in advance.
I don't really like to look farther than 2 days ahead.
Yeah, 2 days is optimal, but I'm just saying if you got to have a week's notice for your time off. You can see a lot of these fronts building a week ahead of time.
If you're just going to throw a time of year out there for a vacation, just do the first 2 weeks of November. If you're a bow hunter.
You see, I would disagree with you on that. I would take last week of October, first week of November.
Really?
I would push it back a week. Me personally. That's just me though.
I do like Halloween. I do like the first week of October.
When did you kill this year?
It's the 20th, October 20th.
27th.
I know, but if I waited to the last day of bow season, I could have had the possible 160.
That's the same thing. I could. This is all the what ifs. As if we didn't kill.
He was 20 yards.
We didn't
at
kill
my mock scrape. Half hour before dark.
If we didn't kill a target buck, not just say like we got a couple bucks that we typically.
We took advantage of like basically our first or second opportunity.
Which obviously you got to take that.
It's tough to pass up.
If it's a buck that you're going to target.
Yeah, you don't know if you're going to get another opportunity.
Yeah.
But I guess that comes down to if you have if you have
a buck you want to kill,
2 to 4 deer that you are willing to harvest, and that deer gives you an opportunity, you're going to take it.
Yep.
And then if you're a fair hunter,
yep,
then you're done for the year. Yep. I guess it's up to the neighbors to kill that 160 because you just killed the 120, the 125 or whatever.
Thank you, Hank. I know you're not tuning in, but thank you, Hank. Appreciate it. Cheers to you, dude. A great buck, dude. He killed Mo, and that deer was.
Thank you, Jeff, very much for that. We appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you for the comment.
I hope you have a successful year this year.
No, that was the crazy thing is obviously going back after season, pulling cards, all that stuff. Mo just went completely fucking everywhere on the farm after I killed Hornet. And again, that's because one, there was no pressure on it. Dad killed early, I killed early. Nobody was in there, dude, until gun season.
But I mean, we killed great bucks, not taking anything.
No, and
our number ones were more active in early November.
Yep.
Not October.
And that's where,
the big boys.
Yeah. And that's where, if you do a lot of homework and do a lot of scouting, do a lot of prep over a couple different properties, there's a few bucks usually to chase for whatever your criteria is that you want to target them at. And that's where, like you said, when all your homework comes together and one of those target bucks comes through, you're not hesitating.
No.
There's
you put so much work in and so much time. You're ready.
You won the chess match. Yeah, buck's there. The chess match is there. You're going checkmate, and now it's just make the shot. Make the shot. So, like I said, it all boils down to, and again, there's a lot of deer that, might slip through the cracks, but then there's other deer, dude, that, case in point, we were talking to a buddy of mine the other day when we were over there at his place, talking about deer and stuff like that. That kid, that youth hunter he had out there, the week before I killed Hornet, passed that deer because he wasn't big enough. Passed a deer that's borderline 140 because he ain't big enough.
Hey, some kids are spoiled with big deer. I don't know.
I
did not grow up that way. I grew up just hoping to see a deer.
Yeah, no, and that's.
I got so sick of not seeing deer, and I wanted to kill them that, that's what drew me to my uncle, Uncle Josh. That's what drew me to him, because he was always successful. He was always he was filling his freezer, he was filling my grandfather's freezer, and he was offering my parents a deer if we wanted it.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing that I'm not?
Yeah.
So I had to go over there, had to kiss his ass, had to fucking take his, he's ball buster, that guy, had to take his blows verbally. Okay, yeah, you can hunt behind my house, but you ain't hunting my main piece. You ain't there yet.
Yep.
And I didn't understand that. I'm like, why? I'm like, let me go out there and kill a good buck. I'm like, come on. Right. He's like, no, you don't understand. Like, what goes into it?
Yep.
He goes, you can go hunt behind my house. He goes, you start being successful out there. He goes, I'll let you do that. We'll come back, we'll have some beers, we'll talk about it, whatever. And that's what we did, and that's how I learned. And then eventually he did take me out to his main spot, and I never did kill a big buck out there. But
you left them out there for him.
I did. It was over like on the border of Mendon. Like it was just gaggles of freaking deer coming over.
Oh yeah, does by the herd.
Oh my god. Yeah. He would text me, gaggle of does coming. Like what is a gaggle of does? Like I've never even seen more than like never seen more than like a doe and a fawn in the woods.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and here comes like 12, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What is this? It was crazy.
So, and that's the other thing too. I guess that brings in a good point. Or a good topic that just popped in. Doe harvest. When do you like to take does? When don't you like to take does? What's your thoughts on doe harvest? Do you take them early? Do you take them late? Do you take them throughout? Like, what's your take? Because I know you punch tags. I mean, we both punch tags a lot. But
I've tagged out the past 2 years.
Yeah. When are you taking your does? When she's broadside?
I gotta say, if that was the case, but no, I mean, if I broke it down to like my own piece and I wanted to manage it the way I wanted to manage it, I would say muzzleloader. I go late season. A lot of people don't like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people hate that because they're bred and you could be killing
3 deer.
Yeah, you could be 2 or 3 deer or whatever.
It's a good point.
From a processing point, I like it. From
for preservation of the meat and all that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's just so much easier to hunt them.
You find food.
You just go find food. You sit out there, and a doe's gonna walk out. Okay, bang, there's your meat. Like I would say gun season, muzzleloader for me when it comes to the does, because I feel like it's so much harder, and your chances of being successful on a good buck in the common hunter's situation changes drastically after opening day of gun season. Mm-hmm. Changes drastically. Your best shot is the average hunter to kill a record book buck, 120 inch, 130, 140, whatever. Is bow season. That is when they're most comfortable. That is when there's the least pressure. That is when you can pattern them and you get the best part of the rut, in my opinion.
And we both missed that rut this year.
We did jump a little bit. But either way, so, yeah, all those things add up for me.
Yeah,
I would rather take I would rather just, okay, if I'm going to see something, I'm going to harvest something with the gun. Granted, I've been successful with the gun, muzzleloader, past 2 years. One was a fluke with the muzzleloader because it was 1 day permission. We just went out there and the dude showed up and I shot him.
Yeah.
That was a fluke. That was like a little bit of skill in there and a little bit of knowledge, but that was just going out there and just winging it.
But like we talked about though, late season, find the food source.
And if there is a big good buck in the area, he's going to be on the food.
Especially late season.
And he's coming out after the does. He's coming out after the does. He's coming out after the small bucks.
Yep.
Wait for all of them to funnel out. And that's when you got to also have your homework done with your scent control. Make sure you're set up for the wind and have an idea where these deer are going to come from.
Exit.
Because if you set up and your wind's blowing right at them, the deer are never going to come out to that food source.
Or if you're walking and they can watch you walking in from where they're bedding, you're done. It don't matter. They'll sit in that bed until you walk out at night.
Yeah, and everything lined up a couple of years ago for that to happen. Mm-hmm. And last 5 minutes of light, I mean, I had to make a 130-yard shot, which was not easy.
Game time decision.
But, yeah.
4-year-old.
But, yeah, I mean, 4.5-year-old 8-point. Almost a 20 and a half inside spread.
Yeah, it was like 20 quarter after each ride, something like that. But he was framed, dude.
But either way, yeah, it's going back.
New Year's buck.
I got to say, with it was
New Year's Eve.
It was the day after Christmas.
Yeah, the holiday hunt.
The holiday hunt, but it was the day after Christmas.
That's what it was.
26th.
Yep. If I was with you, I picked the wrong field that night.
Well, I put you in that field because I knew deer were going to come out in that field.
Oh,
the other field, I had no idea. And I knew there was
front.
standing corn. And seeing I was one with permission, I had rights to the standing corn.
Yeah.
In the middle of the field. So I was going
Ben was already on the chop corn.
Ben, you're going over.
Well, dude, it wasn't a lack of, like we talked about, when late season, you find food, you find the deer. Cut corn, and we're not talking chopped, we're talking harvested, so there's some spillage. I mean, the equipment's much more advanced now. There's not as much spillage, but there were still deer out there foraging for spillage in the recently picked, we'll call it picked corn. I mean, I had, what, a dozen.
You want to kill big bucks? Go find the crappiest farm in your town and go hunt
it. Yeah, the guy with the
they got the worst equipment. Go hunt that one.
The guy with the oldest equipment, the worst weed control.
No
the poorest
drainage. Farmers, I respect all.
That's
but honestly, honestly, it's not a bad tip because they're going to leave the most behind. What you were just talking about.
Yeah. Or like we say.
Or they're just not going to harvest it.
Yeah. Or this time, because their equipment broke. So
exactly.
This time of the year too, we're talking just after Labor Day. This is the time where if you have a food plot that's not doing well, it got browsed out, we had too much rain this year, let's say, got flooded out. There's times to get your cereal grains in there behind it. Broadcast into beans like we talked about. This point of the game, probably not a brassica, but you can go with a cereal grain into a standing bean field. Do an outlaw plot. Those are options. But save those plots to get food on the table. Use a crop like wheat or rye to get a food source there to hunt on that season. Don't let that plot just be a failure or that farmer's field be a failure. If you can get permission to broadcast into them, get some grain on the ground, get some green in there, because when you get that little warm-up like we talk about in November when we've had frosty mornings, frost burns off, got that nice kind of little warm-up in the afternoon, they're going to go to that little bit of freaking cereal grain in that wheat stubble. They're going to go to it, dude. You want to talk about the only green game in town? That's the winter wheat. That's your brassicas, maybe. Some maybe hayfields that are hanging on.
But to tack on to what you're saying a little bit, if you're hunting a piece where you have zero green, let's say it was beans.
Yep.
The harvester went through with brand new equipment, or the harvester went through, it was corn, and he went through.
Chopped it
for silage.
Yep.
So those silage choppers leave nothing anymore.
Oh no, there's nothing because corn's not falling. Yep.
So that's where you want to come in. You want to do your research in the woods. You want to find that oak tree that's producing nuts.
That old apple.
You want to find the old apple tree that has some good stuff underneath it. And I mean, even beech nut around here, I know they hit pretty good.
They can get into beeches. Yep.
I mean, if that's what's out there. I mean,
that's the only mass game. That's what you got.
I mean, it's what they're eating. But if you don't have that option of spreading that wheat or doing any of that, like Ben was talking about, go in and learn your woods. Go in and learn what trees are producing food for those deer, and you go hunt them late, and you will have success. I'm not saying you're going to kill a booner out there, but you will
find deer.
You will find deer as long as you hunt it smart and have good woodsmanship, is what we preach a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You hunt your weather, you hunt your wind, you have your scent control somewhat under control, and you'll be successful.
You just be a predator, dude. Be an educated predator with it.
You know what's an amazing podcast that I watched was the Joe Rogan podcast with what's his name? It's that guy down in Paul Rand. Not Ransley. Paul, I don't know, the guy's all about protecting the Amazon forest or whatever. But we were watching it, and this guy, he says, well, people don't understand. Because Joe Rogan asked him, like, how do you get so close to nature? How do you interact with them so much? He goes, I've become a part of nature. He goes, I don't go out there with a bar of Irish Spring, Old Spice, washed in the street. He goes, I go out there with that scent-free stuff. So I go out there and I do all that. He goes, I'm scent-free. I want to blend in as much as possible, get as close to these animals as much as possible. And granted, he's not hunting them. Snakes he is. He's out there all about the anacondas. But either way, he's out there just trying to blend in. You know, be with the jaguars. Be with all the monkeys and all this stuff. He goes, you go out there smelling like a human, they're going to smell you and turn the other way. They're going to move around.
Because all the tribes out there are trying to eat them.
Well, there you go. But he explained it the same way. And I was like, wow. I'm like, this guy's just trying to interact with these animals. We're trying to kill them. But it's like, he's doing the same thing. It's the same idea. You don't want them to really know you're there. You don't want them to feel like you, even if they do know you're there and they can smell you, if you can just smell like you're just a part of what is there, part of the environment, they're not going to look at you as much as a threat. Even if you do smell like a jaguar or a coyote. Not all coyotes. Every time a deer interacts with a coyote, the coyote's trying to kill the deer. And that is a way overstatement. These animals have lived together for so long. Coyotes just don't see a deer and just chase it.
Yeah, the deer just doesn't see a coyote and runs.
That's not what happens. They coincide. They live together in the same block.
And that's something that is a good topic for the next show or for future shows, or we could even dive into it right now for a little bit. With the coyote topic is like everybody says the coyotes are killing a lot of deer, but nobody wants to look in that mirror, Nate, and go, how I'm hunting, or how I'm approaching that property affecting it? It's always the coyotes are killing them all. The DEC is giving out too many tags. The DEC lets us kill $2 a year. You know, whatever excuse you want to put on the table.
Oh, here we go. Here we go with what we were talking about earlier, with just the slap in the face realization of everything.
And it's
if you have a high coyote population, you have a high deer population. You have a high food source of some sort that is sustaining that high coyote population. You do not have a high predator population without a high food population. It's the same thing when it comes to deer. You have a high food population for deer, you're going to have a high number of deer because you have the food to sustain that amount of deer. It's the same thing with the coyotes. You have a high coyote population, you have a high food population, prey population for that coyote, whether it's deer, rabbit, whatever. They are there for a reason.
And the better you make your habitat, which attracts more deer, which attracts more predators,
which attracts more coyotes,
it all comes back into
nature trying to balance itself. That's what it is.
So, and again, that's where if somebody says, I have a lot of coyotes, they kill all my deer. Like I said,
maybe that's not necessarily what's happening. Maybe that person needs to change up their tactics a little bit on how they're actually hunting these deer.
It's a possibility, and it's something that, like I said, you got to look in the mirror a little bit and go, okay, are the coyotes killing more? Is each coyote killing a deer a year? Okay, let's just say that. You got 2 coyotes on the property, male and female. Not going to count the pups because they get the mice and everything else. We'll throw that in small game into them. You got 2 coyotes. They kill the deer on my 100 acres. They kill one deer a year apiece. Okay. So you got 10 does on that 100 acres. Okay, 10 does equals 5 fawns. Let's just say $5. You got 17 deer. 17, 20 deer. They kill 2 of that. You kill 1. Car kills 3. You know, you're down just 15 now.
15 does, and each 15 of those doe each produce minimally
1 to 2 fawns.
1 to 2 fawns.
Coyote gets 1 or 2.
Next year, coyotes reproduce, deer reproduce. Coyote has.
How is that argument valid? I'm not saying don't kill coyotes. I always will take the opportunity when I
see a coyote, I want to kill it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm with you.
But what I'm saying is, don't blame the coyote for a lack of woodsmanship or
I got video
strategy
of coyotes
or whatever.
and deer in the same video.
laying down.
And the deer are just watching the coyote walk by.
Yeah.
Want to know why? Because the coyote's not hungry.
Yeah,
he's satisfied.
He's not hunting. He's not hunting.
He's just moving through. He's doing his thing. He might go grab a mouse or something.
Yep. No, I have videos.
But he's not starving.
And again, and there's other points too. And this is where it boils down to habitat, is if you have poor habitat, if you can throw a tennis ball in your woods this time of the year, Nate, if you can throw it out in front of you, just give it a toss, and you can see that tennis ball from 20, 30 yards away, you don't have enough cover to protect your fawns. If your habitat's not managed to save those fawns against
areas of your farm.
Yeah, areas.
Your bedding areas.
Yeah.
Let's not say your whole property.
Yeah.
Your bedding areas.
Yeah, good point. If your bedding area is a place where this is where the deer bed, and you throw a tennis ball out there, and you can see that tennis ball from 20 yards away, 30 yards away, or whatever, you don't have enough cover. So, yeah, a coyote's going to come through there, find a fawn, kill it. It's going to happen.
They're going to get all of them?
No, they're not going to get all of them, but they're going to get a majority of them. So if you have bad habitat mixed with bad hunting strategy, you got two things working against you, and one of those you can control. You can control both of them if you own it or maybe lease it. So there's a lot of things that you can do to increase the habitat, which increases deer, which will also increase predators. But if your habitat is managed right, and your hunting strategy is right, your predators won't have a detrimental effect on the population of your game animals.
You want the predators to an extent.
You want to see coyotes because coyotes mean that there is food abundant, that there is habitat abundant.
That's just nature.
And that might be a hot take. I mean, that's a very hot take.
That's just how it works. If you have a high predator count, you have a high prey count to an extent. What is that prey? Probably deer in our area.
Deer and small game, yep.
I mean, you can have a high rabbit population and stuff. Blah, blah, yeah, coyotes eat that too.
Yep.
Coyotes aren't going out every night like special ops, just trying to kill deer.
No. And again, once season rolls around, the gut piles, the lost deer, the road kills are plentiful.
It all gets eaten up by coyotes, foxes.
So, fawns are big in the off season, but then again, that goes back to
once the fawns are big enough, it's hard for a single coyote to bring down a 100-pound animal.
Or even a fawn, once they're we'll just call it a month old,
and that fawn can run, and it's got a mom behind it.
Mm-hmm. It's tough for a coyote to take down a
single coyote. They got to work as a team. And in our area, from what I've observed, and I know coyotes are very stealthy and they're very
territorial,
but it's very hard to, I wouldn't say it's very hard to see one out in the wild.
Well, they cover a lot.
They move fast and they're always alert. Like they are the apex predator in our area for whitetail. I don't know.
Yeah, for any game animal.
Minus the
humans. Yeah.
Minus the front bumper of a Chevy. I don't know what is the apex predator for a whitetail. But I've really only seen I've seen most I've ever seen traveling together is two in daylight. At night, I feel like when I was tracking a deer or coyote hunting, because they hear the hounds going off, they will circle the hounds. Because they think
food coincide,
for the coon hunting, they think that the hounds have food and they move in on it, and they're gonna try overtaking that food with their numbers.
No, that's a good.
And they all start circling you. That gets a little hairy, but for the most part, when coyotes are out hunting, it's like two, maybe three.
Yeah. No, so that's where, and that's a really good point with that.
Two of them take down a fawn.
Is if you want
two of them are not taking out a full-grown buck.
Not unless he's got something severely injury or something like that.
Two of them are not. Two 70-pound coyotes are not taking down.
And that's a big dog.
A 280-pound fucking whitetail. 250.
And me and Ryan talked about this when I had Ryan Wilkes on, who runs a lot of coyotes with hounds. We talked about that 70-pound coyote myth.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Most biggest coyote I've ever seen. And I've been around a lot of hound hunters my whole life. Biggest coyote that was like 52 pounds.
Yeah, like 56.
That's coming from Ryan, and he's been involved in it way
he's
more.
He's seen like one or two go over 60, and they kill a lot of dogs.
Like 80 a year.
Yeah. 30, 40 pound, all day long. I'll believe that.
Two 30-pound coyotes are not taking down a 250-pound whitetail.
I mean, that coyote behind you, that one was only like 32 pounds.
Not happening.
No.
Not a healthy one.
Unless they have injury, something wrong with them. And that's how predators, we call them predators, but predators like coyotes.
Coyotes are scavengers.
They're a scavenger.
They're not
a scavenger
not an apex predator.
No,
they're not a fucking.
And we don't have wolves. We have cross wolves, but.
That's wolves.
Anyway, I think that's a good point to be at. A little over an hour.
Yeah, good.
Hit a lot of stuff. Not a lot of comments, but
I mean,
we'll take what we get.
Jeff, we're up to like 8 or 10 viewers.
Yeah, we had some viewers.
Jeff, thanks for your solo comment.
Yep.
What about YouTube? Anybody? Not even a heart.
Yep.
Not even my wife.
Oh, he was watching.
He's gonna watch these someday. He's gonna become a master.
So, but we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I know we're just getting this cranked back up now that we're going to try to get these out once a week for everybody out there tuning into these. So we'll keep the conversation rolling with our hot takes, whether it's coyotes aren't the reason why your deer hunting sucks, or
that's my own opinion. That was just like,
I don't know. You can agree with it, disagree with it. Let us know in the comments.
I would love for that topic to blow up.
Or $2 a year, or whatever.
$2 a year. I say let's go instead of 2 times a year. Let's go 1 time a year, $2 a year. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah. Keep it simple. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it. 100 Proof Whitetails down here at the bar. Catch you all next time down at the bar. Sorry, I'm out.
So yeah.
That's it.
Do your beep boop thing for Gary.
Beep boop.